The morning started quiet, the kind of quiet that helps a person breathe slowly and think clearly. Amara woke before her alarm and lay still for a moment, listening to the soft sound of the city outside her window. A bus hissed somewhere down the street. A bird called from a wire. She let those sounds settle in her chest. Today was her first day at a new school. She told herself, one step at a time. She sat up, stretched her arms, and smiled at the small gym bag at the foot of her bed. It had patches from past youth tournaments, the stitching neat and bright from many careful washes. She did not bring the bag for show. She brought it because it was part of her routine, like brushing her teeth or tying her shoes. Routine made new places feel less strange. Her mother knocked softly and peeked in. "Breakfast is ready," she said. Amara nodded and reached for a notebook on the nightstand. On the first page she had written a simple line in blue pen, "Write, don't react." It was a reminder from her coach and from herself. When something is hard, write it down first. Use words before you use strength. She slipped the notebook into her backpack and headed to the kitchen. The kitchen smelled like toast and cinnamon. Her mother had set out a small lunchbox, water bottle, and a banana. "You're early," her mother said, smiling. "Good sign." "I wanted to see the halls before they get crowded," Amara replied. She liked to walk a space when it was quiet, to learn exits, stairs, and the way light fell through windows. Knowing a place made her feel steady. They ate in calm silence, the good kind. Her mother asked about the bus route, the stop she would use, the time school ended, and when Amara would text to check in. Amara answered each question with simple words. Then her mother squeezed her hand. "You are ready," she said. "Be kind. Be careful. Come home to me." Outside, the air felt clear and light. Amara walked to the bus stop with her backpack snug against her shoulders. The bus arrived with a sigh and opened its doors. A few students looked up, then back at their screens. She found a seat near the front. The driver nodded. Amara returned the nod and sat straight, counting the turns as the bus made its way across the city, right at the park, left at the gas station, straight over the bridge. She wrote the sequence in her notebook. If the bus ever detoured, she would still know how to get home. The school appeared next, tall and red brick, with a row of flags waving in the morning breeze. A banner above the main doors read, "Welcome, new students." She took a breath and stepped off the bus. The courtyard was still mostly empty. A few early students talked on the steps. A teacher directed someone to the office. A custodian rolled a bin toward the side door. Amara walked in through the main entrance and felt the cool air of the hallway. The floor shone from a recent polish. Light fell through long windows and made bright rectangles on the tiles. At the office, a friendly staff member looked over her papers, printed a schedule, and handed her a small card with her locker number and combination. "Vice Principal Ortega meets new students on their first day," the woman said. "Just a quick hello. He's kind." She pointed down the hall. "Second door on the left." Mr. Ortega's office had plants on the windowsill and a bulletin board with flyers about clubs, tutoring, and a tutoring center. He stood when she entered, shook her hand, and used her name. He asked about her previous school, what she liked to study, and if she needed help finding classrooms. Amara answered simply, "Math, literature, and PE." Mr. Ortega smiled at the mention of PE. "Coach Lena runs a strong program here," he said. "She also helps with our student safety team. If you ever need anything, you can ask her or me." He pointed to a poster behind his desk that showed the school's promise to prevent bullying and how to report concerns. "We take this seriously," he said. "Our goal is a safe, calm school. If you see something, say something." Amara thanked him. She tucked a small copy of the policy into her folder. Not because she expected trouble, but because it is smart to know the rules of any place you enter. The hallways grew busier as the first bell neared. Amara found her locker, turned the combination right, left, right and opened it with a small click. She arranged her books neatly. In the top corner, she taped a small sticky note that said, "Breathe in 4. Hold 2. Breathe out 6. It was a simple breathing pattern that helped her focus. She checked the time, then walked the path from classroom to classroom, counting steps and noting landmarks, a mural of the school mascot near the science wing, a water fountain that made a soft humming sound, a side door with a view of the courtyard. First period was English. The teacher, Miss Hart, had kind eyes and kept a basket of sharpened pencils on her desk. She asked students to write a paragraph about a book that mattered to them. Amara wrote about a novel she had read last year about a girl who moves to a new city and finds her way by learning bus lines and street names. When Miss Hart invited volunteers to share, Amara listened to others and chose not to read aloud. She wanted to observe first, then speak later. Miss Hart smiled at her paper when she collected it. "Thank you," she said quietly. Between classes, Amara walked with a smooth pace. She kept to the right side to avoid bumping shoulders. She kept her hands free and her eyes up. She noticed small things that most people ignored: the one tile near the math wing that was a shade darker, the bulletin board that listed clubs like robotics, debate, and a girls' self-defense group that met after school once a week. She paused at that flyer for a moment. It was simple, with an email address at the bottom. She put the address into her notebook for later. In the cafeteria at lunch, the sound level rose like a wave, trays clacking, laughter, announcements. Amara walked the perimeter first, then chose a table near the window. A girl with a bright backpack asked if she could sit. "I'm Maya," she said. "I think we have English together." Amara smiled. "Yes. I'm Amara." They ate in a comfortable way, sharing silence and small talk. Maya asked what music Amara liked. Amara asked about clubs. Maya pointed out a few groups that were friendly and a few that liked to show off. She spoke in a gentle tone, like a person trying to be helpful without being dramatic. She said the school was good, the teachers fair, and the hall monitors strict about tardy passes. She also said some students tested new kids to see how they would respond. "Small things," Maya said. "Like blocking a path or making a joke. It's not everyone. But it happens." Amara nodded. She had seen this before at other schools. She did not feel afraid, she felt ready to use the tools she had learned: breathe, make space, speak clearly, walk away, tell an adult if needed. The goal was not to win. The goal was to be safe and kind. After lunch, she signed the library log and found a seat near the back. The librarian smiled from her desk. The library smelled like paper and quiet. Amara read a few pages of a history book and then wrote a short note to herself about the day so far: office friendly. Mr. Ortega helpful. Miss Hart kind. Maya sweet. Hall's busy but okay. Breathing helps. In PE, Coach Lena began with a warm-up and a short talk about safety. "We take care of each other," she said. "No pushing. No showing off. No laughing at mistakes." When students lined up for a short fitness drill, Amara moved with calm, even steps. Nothing flashy. Just correct posture, steady breathing, and relaxed hands. Coach Lena noticed. After class, she walked over and said, "You have good control." Amara thanked her and said she used to train in a small gym near her old home. "We have a self-defense club," Coach Lena added. "Focus on awareness and leaving, not on fighting. If you want to check it out, I can send you the schedule." Amara said she would like that. The coach wrote her name on a small list. By the last period, Amara felt the good kind of tired that comes from learning new paths and faces. She also felt the faint edge of attention from a few students who had watched her quiet way. Most eyes were neutral or kind, but a pair here and there carried a test in them, the kind that says, "Will you move if I step too close? Will you react if I talk too loud?" Amara did not hold those looks in her body. She let them pass. She kept her shoulders low and her steps easy. She reminded herself, the first day is about seeing and learning. When the final bell rang, the hallways flooded with movement. Backpacks swung. Lockers slammed. A voice on the loudspeaker announced a club fair on Friday. Amara closed her locker gently and slipped her notebook into her pocket. She took a slow breath and looked down the main corridor. A group stood by the stairs, talking fast and laughing. One girl with glossy hair and a bright jacket seemed to be at the center of it. Amara did not know her name yet. The girl tossed a remark across the hall that sounded playful to her friends. Amara could not hear the exact words, only the tone. It was light on the surface but sharp underneath, like a smile that didn't reach the eyes. Maya appeared at Amara's side as if she had been watching out for her. "Walk with me?" Maya asked. Amara nodded. They moved together, steady and calm. The hallway narrowed as students squeezed past a cart of art supplies. Someone brushed Amara's shoulder and did not say sorry. Amara stepped aside to create room. She kept her face soft and her path straight. She did not take the bump into her body as a message. She treated it as a fact of crowded hallways and kept going. At the bottom of the stairs, they paused to let a cluster move on. The girl in the bright jacket glanced their way. Her expression was unreadable, not friendly, not angry, simply curious in a way that felt like a test. Amara met her eyes for a moment, then looked away. Not down, not up, just away, as one does when one has chosen a different task. She and Maya stepped out into the late afternoon light. Outside, the air held a golden glow. The noise of the halls faded into the softer sounds of the street. Amara felt her breath deepen. She thanked Maya for walking with her. "Any time," Maya said. "See you tomorrow." "Tomorrow," Amara agreed. She checked the bus stop, counted the minutes until the next bus, and sent a short text to her mother, "Done for the day. All good. On my way." Then she opened her notebook and wrote a few lines while she waited. She wrote about the plant on Mr. Ortega's windowsill that had a small wooden sign reading "Keep Growing." She wrote about the library's quiet. She wrote about the flyer for the self-defense club and the kind way Coach Lena had spoken. She wrote about the busy hallway and the way a bump can be just a bump, even when it feels like a question. She ended with her usual rhythm: breathe in 4. Hold 2. Breathe out 6. The bus came with its familiar sigh. She climbed aboard, found a seat near the front, and watched the school slip past the window as the bus pulled away. The city moved around her in easy patterns: the park, the gas station, the bridge, the quiet street with the bakery on the corner. She felt the weight of the day in her legs and also a calm sense of readiness in her chest. There would be many more days. She would learn names and faces. She would build trust with teachers. She would choose kindness with care. If tests came, she would meet them with words first, then movement only if there was no other choice. She smiled at the thought and looked down at the patches on her gym bag. They were small, colorful, and earned with patience. They reminded her that the strongest part of skill is control. When the bus stopped near her home, she stepped down and lifted her face to the light. The door to her building opened, and her mother waved from the stoop. Amara waved back and felt the simplest comfort of all: a safe place to return to. As she walked toward the door, she did not think of any challenge with fear. She thought of tomorrow as a fresh page to write on, with the same steady rule she had written in her notebook: write, don't react. The words felt like a gentle path beneath her feet, leading her forward, step by step, into a new school, a new city, and a new story that she would shape with care. The second day began with a light drizzle that made the sidewalks shine. Amaro liked the sound of soft rain on the bus windows. It felt like a curtain that separated the quiet inside from the busy world outside. She traced one small drop with her eyes as it slid down the glass, then opened her notebook and read the first page again. Right, don't react. She touched the corner of the page with her thumb and smiled. It was a simple rule, like a lighthouse in her mind. When she stepped off the bus, the school looked different under gray light, less bright, more focused. She liked it that way. The courtyard held clusters of students under hoods and umbrellas. Amaro walked with steady steps, keeping her backpack high on her shoulders and her hands free. She moved through the main doors and felt the gentle shift from street noise to hallway murmurs. She checked the time and went to her locker before the crowd thickened. The metal felt cool under her fingers as she turned the dial right, left, right. The lock clicked. She eased the door open and began to set her day in order: English binder on top, math notebook next, a slim folder for forms. Footsteps slowed behind her. At first she thought nothing of it. Hallways are full of footsteps, they come and go like waves. But these steps stopped and stayed. A sweet scent of body spray reached her. She felt a change in the air, the way a room feels when a window opens and the temperature shifts by 1 small degree. She took a breath and kept her eyes on her locker. She had learned this long ago: do not rush to label a moment. See it first. Then choose. A hand touched the edge of her locker door and held it open wider than she needed. Amaro looked up. The girl from yesterday, the one with glossy hair and a bright jacket, stood close, smiling in a way that was almost friendly if you did not look too carefully. 2 students flanked her, a step back on each side. The girl's voice glided out like a ribbon. "You're the new one," she said. "We were curious. No one knows anything about you. What's in the bag?" "Books," Amara said. Her tone was even and light. She did not step back, she also did not lean in. Her hands stayed relaxed at her sides. The girl tapped the metal door with a fingernail that made a tink sound. The sound was small but sharp. "People are saying things," the girl continued. "Like you're too quiet. Like you think you're better. Like you stare at the floor so you don't have to say hi." Amara met her eyes, then let her gaze rest gently on the nose bridge instead. It made eye contact feel calmer. "I'm just new," she said. "I'm still learning the halls." "Learning," the girl repeated, as if tasting the word. One of the boys next to her stepped forward and let a book slip from Amara's stack. It hit the floor with a flat slap. The sound turned a few heads. Nearby students slowed without stopping, like birds circling a wire. A phone rose, half hidden by a sleeve, its lens a small dark eye. The second boy gave a soft laugh, more for the group than for himself. The girl's smile did not change. "You should meet us after last bell," she said. "By the north stairs. We have orientation." The last word hung in the air like a chalk mark on a blackboard. Amara stayed still. She thought of the rule: right, don't react. She chose words. "I want to leave for class now," she said slowly, clearly. "Please move so I can close my locker." The girl's smile thinned by a hair. She studied Amara's face, maybe waiting for something: fear, anger, a rush of words. When nothing extra came, she tilted her head. "North stairs," she repeated, still soft. "Don't be late." She slid her hand off the locker door. The 2 boys widened their stance on either side for a breath, then stepped back just enough for her to pass. Amara knelt to pick up her book, motion steady, chin level. She did not snatch, she did not pause long enough to feed the moment. She stood, closed her locker with a quiet click, and turned to leave. As she did, she noticed the phone again, then the small silver dome of a hallway camera above the lockers. The lens caught everything and reacted to nothing. It simply watched. She walked to class with heartbeats she could count. Her breath did what it was trained to do, in for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. On the out-breath, her shoulders softened. She moved through the math wing, past the darker tile, and into English. Miss Hart greeted her with a warm good morning. Amara returned it. She took her seat and laid out her notebook. When the bell rang, she wrote the date in neat blue letters at the top of the page. Underneath, she wrote, hallway. Locker. Ask for space. Camera at 7:52 a.m. The act of writing made the moment feel small enough to place inside a line. It was solid now, not fog. During a quiet reading time, Amara formed a plan. She would follow the policy she had tucked into her folder yesterday. If you experience intimidation or repeated harassment, report to an adult as soon as possible. She would speak with the counselor during the break before second period. It would be a short, simple report: who, where, when, what was said. No big claims. Just facts. She would also send a calm text to her mother so that someone at home knew the situation. It was not about fear. It was about a trail, a record, a map of what happened. When the first period ended, Amara closed her book and walked directly to the counseling office. The receptionist looked up with a kind face. "Do you need to see someone?" "Yes," Amara said. "It will be quick if that helps." She was shown into a small room with soft chairs and a tall plant that looked like a fountain of green. The school counselor, Miss Patel, had a gentle voice that made everything feel less complicated. "How can I help, Amara?" Amara described the morning. She did not add color. She did not remove it. She spoke as if she were reading from a careful list: time, place, 3 students, a phone, words used, and a request to meet after school. She ended with, "I said I wanted to go to class. I asked them to move. Then I left. I'm reporting this so there is a record." Miss Patel nodded, taking notes in tidy handwriting. "Thank you for telling me," she said. "You did the right thing." She asked a few standard questions: did they touch you? Did you feel unsafe? Do you know their names? Amara answered, "One book knocked down, no physical harm, names unknown but faces clear." Miss Patel checked a box in her system and printed a short confirmation slip with the date and time. "We'll inform Vice Principal Ortega and keep an eye on that corridor," she said. "If you see them again or they try to meet you, do not go alone. Choose a different exit, and tell a staff member right away. I can also ask a hall monitor to walk with you after last bell." Amara thanked her. "A staff escort would be good," she said. "Also, I want to text my mom." "Of course," Miss Patel replied. "Would you like to use this room?" Amara sent a brief message: "Morning note, locker crowding, 3 students. Reported to counselor at 8:41. All calm. Will update after school." Her mother replied with a heart and the words, "Proud of you. Walk with an adult if needed." Back in the hallway, Amara slid into second period just as the bell rang. She felt the quiet strength that comes from taking a clear step. When you name a thing and place it on a page, it becomes lighter to carry. In science, she measured liquids in graduated cylinders and liked how the curved edge the meniscus gave an exact reading if you kept your eyes level. She thought that life sometimes worked the same way. If you look straight, without tilting up or down, you see the true line. Small looks followed her between classes. Not many, but enough to draw a faint chalk circle around her place in the day. A few students smiled with real warmth, she smiled back. 2 others watched with a curious edge, as if waiting for a show. She did not offer one. She kept her pace smooth and her hands free. At lunch, she found Maya again near the window. "You okay?" Maya asked, reading her face like a good friend even though they had only just met. "I'm okay," Amara said. "This morning at the locker, a girl spoke to me. She asked me to meet her by the north stairs after school. I reported it." Maya's eyebrows rose. "Good. That's smart." She glanced around and leaned in a little. "That sounds like Kayla and her crew. People act tough around them, but half of it is noise. Still, don't go there. They like a crowd. Crowds make small things feel big." Amara nodded. She pulled out a printed map of the school she had marked with a highlighter the night before. "I think the south exit is better. There's a camera and a teacher's workroom nearby. If a staff member can walk with me, even better." Maya pointed at the map. "That's a calm path," she said. "Also, Coach Lena is usually near the gym at last bell. She's solid." "I'll email her now," Amara said. She typed a short message on her phone. "Coach, after school today I may need a safe exit. Could I meet you near the gym at 3:05? I also spoke with the counselor this morning." She hit send and felt another small brick of steadiness settle into place. The afternoon moved forward in a drumbeat of small tasks: finish a paragraph, solve an equation, label a diagram. In each class, she kept her posture open and her attention clear. Outside the windows, the rain eased, then returned, then softened again, like a careful metronome. During a brief break, she passed the north stairs and noticed how sound pooled there. It was a narrow place where voices bounced off concrete. A person could feel smaller in a corner like that. She made a note of the camera location and the closest staff room. Then she continued to the library for 10 minutes of quiet. At her locker before last bell, Amara moved on purpose. She loaded her backpack lightly to keep her steps quick, slipped her notebook into an easy-to-reach pocket, and tucked the printed policy behind a clear plastic sleeve. She did not rush, because rushing steals breath. She also did not linger, because lingering invites attention. She simply flowed in and out like water passing a stone. The final bell came like a flock of birds lifting at once. Doors opened. Voices spread. A ripple of alertness moved through the hall, the way a field bends when wind travels across it. Amara felt it but did not feed it. She took the south hallway, just as she and Maya planned, and saw two hall monitors chatting near a bulletin board. One of them looked up and gave a small nod. Amara returned it. She was grateful for adults who watched without drama. As she turned the corner by the gym, her phone buzzed. An email from Coach Lena, "I'll be there." The simple sentence worked on her nerves like a warm hand on a cold shoulder. She exhaled slowly and lengthened her step. Then, behind her, the pitch of hallway noise lifted. It was not a shout, it was the soft rise of a crowd choosing a path together, feet quicker, voices closer. She did not look back. She had learned that looking back sometimes invites. Looking forward invites calm. Ahead, she saw Coach Lena, clipboard in hand, talking with a teacher. The coach's posture was easy, ready, strong. Amara walked toward her, shoulders down, jaw relaxed, eyes level. She did not change speed. She did not stiffen. As she neared, a short laugh sounded behind her, followed by a voice that held a smile but not the friendly kind. "North Stairs, new girl. Don't run." Amara did not answer. She did not need to. She reached Coach Lena, who took in the scene with one quick glance that measured more than a minute of talk. The coach's voice was calm and steady. "Hi, Amara. Walk with me, please." It was an invitation and a plan wrapped in one. They stepped into motion together, a simple line moving toward the open doors and the soft light after rain. The coach did not hurry. She did not slow. She let the rhythm of the hallway carry them, and the hallway obeyed. Behind them, the crowd's attention thinned like fog in sun. Not everyone enjoys a scene when an adult is present. The moment changed shape. A sound that had seemed big turned small. Outside, the air smelled clean, like wet leaves and new chance. Amara's breath deepened. She thanked the coach and said, "I went to the counselor this morning. I wanted you to know." "Good," the coach said. "That's the right path. If anyone asks you to meet them alone, do not go. If they walk near you in a group, create space and call a staff member." "You're doing well." Amara nodded. She texted her mother, "After school, walked with coach. All calm. Taking the bus now." Then she opened her notebook and wrote 3 small lines before she put it away. Locker, 7:52. Counselor, 8:41. South exit with coach, 3:05. Chose words. Chose help. Chose calm. The bus arrived with its usual sigh. She climbed aboard and took her seat near the front. As the school slid away behind raindrops on glass, she felt something strong and quiet inside her, like the steady center of a will that turns without wobble. The day had tried to pull her into a story she did not want. Instead, she wrote her own story in clear steps: see, choose, report, walk with help, go home safe. She rested her head against the window and watched the city pass, knowing that tomorrow would bring new choices and she would meet them with the same simple rule: right, don't react. On the third morning, the sky was clear again, and the bus windows showed a bright, careful blue. Amara sat near the front as usual, knees steady, backpack close, notebook ready. She read the first line she had written on day 1: right, don't react, and felt the words land softly in her chest. Then she wrote today's date and a small plan: move early. Choose quiet halls. Speak clearly. Ask for help. Plans made the day feel like a map instead of a maze. At school, she walked in before the first rush and turned her locker dial right, left, right with the same slow confidence as always. Her fingers remembered the numbers even if her mind drifted. She placed each book where it belonged and looked once at the small sticky note in the top corner: breathe in 4. Hold 2. Breathe out 6. She did the pattern twice, feeling the air smooth out the tiny ridges in her thoughts. Then she moved down the hall to English. By mid-morning, she began to notice a shift. Small things, but together they made a tone. A whisper that cut off when she turned a corner. A look that slid away too quickly. 2 students at a water fountain glancing at her and then at a phone. It was not new to her that rumors can move faster than truth, especially when a phone is in someone's hand. Still, light can spread too. She reminded herself of that. In English, Miss Hart asked the class to write 3 sentences about a memory that shaped who they were. Amara wrote about how she learned to ride a bike on a narrow street and discovered that balance comes from looking forward, not down. When the bell rang, Maya caught her in the doorway. "Do you have a minute?" Maya asked. They stepped aside to let others pass. Maya spoke in a quiet voice. "Something's floating on the class group chat," she said. "It's vague. A few comments about the new girl who acts like a statue and that she won't follow directions. Someone posted a short clip of your back at the locker yesterday. It cuts off before anything real happens." Amara kept her breath even. "Thank you for telling me," she said. "Can you send me a screen capture with the names hidden? I want to keep a record." Maya nodded and tapped her phone. "I'll blur the handles and timestamp it," she said. "Also, I heard Kayla say something in the lunch line yesterday about the north stairs again. She likes that corner because sound bounces there. People feel louder." "Good to know," Amara replied. "I'll stop by the office after second period to add a note to my report. Would you walk with me after school again? I'll ask a staff member too." "Of course," Maya said. "I'll meet you by the library." Between classes, Amara made small adjustments. She walked an extra half loop to avoid a crowded crossway. She paused outside the gym to note the nearest adults. She took a photo of the anti-bullying poster that showed the reporting QR code and saved it in a folder labeled Receipts. She also printed the policy again in the library, this time slipping it into a clear sleeve with a bold header. She wrote herself, "Respect, safety, exit." The act felt simple and strong, like tying a shoe. At the counseling office, Miss Patel greeted her with the same calm kindness. "Any updates?" she asked. "A few," Amara said. She described the morning glances and the vague chat messages. She handed over 2 printed screenshots from Maya with names blurred and times showing. She also mentioned the repeated hint about the north stairs. "I am not going there," she added. "I will choose a path with adults and cameras. I'd like to request that a hall monitor walk the south corridor at dismissal." Miss Patel typed notes quickly. "We can do that," she said. "I'll alert Mr. Ortega and Coach Lena again. Thank you for bringing proof. This helps." Amara sent a short message to her mother, "Update, small posts today, nothing big." Counselor added note. "I'll walk with Maya and a staff member." A heart returned. Then a second message, like a warm hand, "Proud of your steps." Science class came and went in gentle order. Amara liked the honesty of measurements. A number did not gossip. In math, she faced a long equation and felt the quiet joy of solving it with steady logic. It reminded her of how she wanted to move through the day one clean step at a time. At lunch, the room thrummed with regular noise: trays, chairs, laughter. Still, there was a soft center of attention shaped like a question mark, and Amara knew it curved toward her. She sat with Maya by the window again. They talked about homework and favorite snacks. Maya's bright backpack looked like a small sunrise on the bench. "Do you think you'll join any clubs?" Maya asked. "I want to try self-defense club," Amara said. "I like the focus on leaving." Maya grinned. "That's exactly what coach says, leave is the goal." She lifted a finger as if taking attendance for one person. "Rule 1, make space. Rule 2, call for help. Rule 3, break the grip and go. Control beats force." Amara smiled. "Control beats force," she echoed. It felt like a steady drum beat in her mind. After lunch, the weather shifted. Sunlight poured through the windows and made silver squares on the floors. As Amara walked to the library for a 10-minute reset, she passed near the north stairs. The air there felt narrow, like a tight tunnel. Voices bounced. A small cluster had gathered. Kayla stood in the middle, not loud, not quiet, just there in a way that turned the others like iron filings to a magnet. She glanced toward Amara, then away, then back. The look was not a smile and not a frown. It was a test, cold as a glass tabletop. Amara did not step toward the cluster. She did not speed up or slow down. She kept her path smooth, her eyes level, her hands free. She entered the library and signed a log. The librarian looked up and gave a small nod, a kindness that felt like a hand steadying a railing. Amara sat and wrote 3 lines in her notebook, walked past north stairs. Cluster there. Kept path. Then she closed her eyes and counted her breathing pattern. The library smelled like paper and promise. In PE, Coach Lena gave a short talk that sounded like it was meant for everyone and also meant for Amara. "You are stronger than your reaction," the coach said. "We practice so that our first move is the right one, not the fast one. We leave drama to theater class. Here we leave danger." The class laughed softly, and the laugh had warmth in it. Amara filed the sentence in her mind with her other small anchors. By the last period, the tone in the halls felt like the hum before a song starts. Not loud, but ready to rise. Amara could sense the way eyes gather attention, the way a lens gathers light. She did not fear attention, she just did not want to feed it. So she set up her exit with care. She placed heavy books in her locker to move lightly. She untangled her headphone cord so nothing would catch. She checked the strap on her backpack and adjusted it so she could slip it off in one simple motion if needed. She checked her phone and opened a new text to Maya, "Meet by library at 3:00. The reply came fast, "Yes." The final bell was not a bell so much as a breath released by the whole building at once. Doors opened like eyes, and the halls filled. Amara stepped into the flow and aimed for the library. Maya joined her with a quick smile that said, "I see you. I'm here." They moved together toward the south corridor. Amara saw a hall monitor by the trophy case and gave a small nod. He nodded back. These tiny links nod to nod felt like a chain she could hold. They passed the gym doors, and for a moment all seemed simple. Then the hum shifted. From the corner of her eye, Amara saw movement come from two directions at once, like a shadow choosing both walls. Kayla stepped in from the left with an easy stroll, as if she just happened to be there. Drew and Levi came from the right, their steps a touch too casual, like they wanted the world to believe they were only passing by. Two other students hung back near the lockers, phones low. "Hey," Kayla said, warmth in her voice that did not reach her eyes. "We missed you at the north stairs." "I chose this exit," Amara said, light and clear. "I'm going home." Drew's smile was barely there. "We're just talking," he said, as if the word talking were an umbrella big enough to hide anything from rain. Amara angled her body so she and Maya could keep moving. "Excuse us," she said. "We're leaving." Levi stepped a fraction closer, enough to make the air feel smaller. The crowd behind them shifted like grass in the wind. A few phones tilted up. One student coughed in a way that sounded like a small drum beat. Amara saw Coach Lena at the far end of the hall, clipboard in hand, talking to a teacher. Relief brushed her like a breeze, but the distance would take a few seconds to close. She did what she had practiced in her mind. She placed her feet under her shoulders. She lowered her shoulders. She kept her hands open, palms visible, fingers relaxed. Kayla's voice stayed smooth. "You walk like a ghost," she said to Amara. "Like you think the floor should move out of your way." "The floor belongs to everyone," Amara said. "So do the exits." She and Maya kept moving one small step at a time. Drew's hand flicked up, not rough, not gentle, and touched the strap of Amara's backpack as if to test what it felt like. The motion was quick, the kind of motion that could be a joke in one story and a grab in another. The strap tightened against Amara's shoulder. She did not yank. She did not freeze. She let her shoulder drop half an inch to release tension where the strap lay. She felt how her body was positioned. She measured the space between her and the wall. She noted the nearest adult and the nearest camera. "Let go," she said, voice low but clear. "I am leaving." Levi moved to the other side, 2 points of pressure now. The crowd murmured. Someone whispered, "Don't be scared," in a tone that had more show than care. Maya's stance shifted so that she was half a step behind Amara, ready to move with her. "Coach is coming," Maya said softly. Drew's fingers curled again, this time firmer on the strap. The bag tugged. The pull was not wild, but the angle aimed Amara toward a corner where the wall met a trophy case. It was the kind of corner that made shadows stack. Amara's mind did a quick clean math: corner equals less space equals less choice. She felt her center of gravity and brought it lower by the gentle act of bending her knees. Not much, just enough. Her voice carried the same calm as a teacher taking attendance. "Teacher," she called, steady. Not a scream. A signal. "Coach Lena." The sound of her voice, more than the words, changed the air. It threaded through the hallway noise and found adult ears. She saw Coach lift her head and begin to walk toward them with purpose. The hall monitor near the trophy case turned too, eyebrows rising, steps quickening. The phones wavered, as phones do when a scene breaks into something different than people expected. Kayla's eyes narrowed the smallest amount, like a person who had planned a joke and did not want an audience to leave too soon. "Don't make this dramatic," she said, but the tone carried a little thread of worry now. Amara did not answer that line. She did not want to turn the moment into a debate. She did one thing at a time, the way you move a heavy box safely. First she searched for space. She saw a sliver between Levi's shoulder and the lockers where the light from a window stretched across the floor. She angled her toes toward that light. Second, she made her words as simple as a street sign. "Please move. I am leaving." The strap tugged again. Her body felt the direction. The wall was closer now by a step. The trophy case glowed with old metals and polished glass. She did not want to touch that glass. She did not want anyone else to, either. She kept her hands open and close to her body, not out like a push and not hidden like a secret. Maya was still at her shoulder, a quiet anchor. "Teacher," Amara said again, same calm tone. The hall monitor's shoes were louder now. Coach Lena's clipboard tapped once against her leg as she crossed the last stretch of floor. Amara felt the moment standing on a thin line, like a seesaw balanced in the air, the kind of second where one choice decides the next 10. "Let go," Amara said one last time, clear as glass. "We are leaving." Her voice did not shake. Her eyes stayed level. The crowd's whisper bent in a new direction, a sound like leaves turning if you have ever watched a tree in wind. A bell from somewhere, maybe a classroom timer, maybe a late club reminder, pinged, soft and clean. The light on the floor did not change, but the feeling in the hall did, as if the whole place remembered it was a school, not a stage. Drew's grip tightened for a blink, just a blink, and then, right as adult footsteps arrived, the blink stretched into the longest second of the day. For a heartbeat, the hallway felt like a held breath. Drew's fingers tightened on Amara's backpack strap, Levi shifted to close the gap by the lockers, Kayla watched with a small, careful smile that asked for a scene and nothing else. Phones hovered like tiny moons. Somewhere, a shoe squeaked. The air itself seemed to lean forward. Amara did not lean. She let her shoulders soften instead. The softness was not weakness, it was a choice. When shoulders drop, straps loosen. She felt the slight slack under Drew's hand and used it the way a door uses a hinge, quietly. She slid her left shoulder forward half an inch, then another, letting the strap ease toward the edge. Her palms stayed open, visible. "I am leaving," she said again, same tone, same words, as steady as a crosswalk sign. Drew's fingers tried to follow the strap, but his grip meant less to hold. The bag shifted toward Amara's elbow instead of toward the corner. Levi's stance changed with it, one foot crossing a little too close to his other foot. That small step made his balance tall and thin, like a stack of books. Amara did not push him. She did something simpler, she moved her own feet to better ground. Right foot angled toward light, left foot stepped around the strap as it slid. She turned her body so that her backpack slipped down and forward into her hands. It was both a guard and a bundle now, not a leash. "Hands where I can see them," Coach Lena called, crisp and even, closing the distance at a calm, purposeful pace. The hall monitor's steps sounded behind her. 2 words from an adult can change a room faster than 10 loud ones from a crowd. Amara lifted her hands, bag cradled against her chest, elbows relaxed. She kept space between herself and the others by simply not filling the space with panic. "I don't want trouble," she said. "I want to leave." The words were not a plea, they were a decision spoken aloud. Levi, off balance by that crossed step, adjusted too quickly and bumped his shoulder into the locker. The sound was more hollow than loud, a reminder that metal is not skin. He winced and shuffled back a half step. No one was hurt. The crowd's breath changed, a little less sure of the story it had come to watch. Phones lowered a fraction. Back up, the hall monitor said, palm out, voice firm but not sharp. All of you. Now. He took 2 measured steps between the students and Amara, creating a clean line where there had been a blur. Kayla's mouth tightened. We were just talking, she said. It came out too sweet. Even she could hear that. Talking happens with space, Coach Lena said without looking away from the students. Give her space. Amara saw the narrow slot of floor that had felt like a trap a moment before. Now, with the adult bodies between her and the crowd, it turned into a path. She didn't rush it. She took it the way one walks across a wet kitchen floor, sure, careful, light. Maya moved with her, half a step to the side, a steady echo. Amara, Coach said, still calm, come stand by me. It wasn't a suggestion and it wasn't a command, it was a bridge. Amara crossed the last few steps and stood beside the coach. She let out one breath, slow enough that only her own ribs felt it. Thank you, she said. Coach Lena gave the smallest nod. You did well, she murmured. Then, to the others, hallway's not a stage. Put the phones away. The tone meant there would be a follow-up if they didn't. Screens dipped for real this time. Mr. Ortega arrived at the end of the corridor, drawn by the same thread of sound that had drawn the adults closer minutes before. He took in the spread students, phones, the hall monitor, Coach, Amara, Maya, and placed himself in the quiet center the way a good anchor does for a boat in wind. Let's separate, he said. You, and you, he indicated Kayla, Drew, and Levi with a measured hand. My office. Please don't speak to each other on the way. Then to Amara and Maya, you two, nurse first for a quick check, then my office. Coach, thank you for being here. The hallway began to move again, but now it moved like a river guided by stone. The crowd thinned. The idea of a scene slipped off the walls like mist. Amara walked with Maya and the coach toward the nurse's room. Her heart still ticked a little faster than usual, but each step told it to calm down. You're safe, keep going. In the nurse's office, the air was soft and smelled faintly of soap. The nurse, Miss Greer, had the kind of eyes that made worry lower its volume. She asked simple questions. Any pain? Any dizziness? Amara shook her head. Miss Greer checked her pulse, looked briefly at her hands and shoulders for any signs of strain, and wrote a short note on a small form. You look okay, she said. Drink water anyway. She offered a cup. Amara took it and was surprised at how good the cool sip felt. Thank you, Amara said. Good self-check, Miss Greer replied. That's a skill too. They walked to Mr. Ortega's office next. The waiting area had 2 chairs and a poster that said, We solve problems together. It didn't feel like a slogan right now, it felt like a plan. Mr. Ortega opened the door after a minute and invited them in. He still had the same calm presence as the first day, but now there was a stronger edge under it, the kind of edge that says, I will carry this with you and I will not let it drop. I'm glad you're here, he said to Amara and Maya. Thank you for coming straight away. He turned to Coach Lena. Can you give me your quick read? Coach summarized in 3 clean lines: crowd forming, hand on strap, student calling for an adult, bag freed without force, adults arriving, separation, nurse check. She didn't add heat. She didn't subtract weight. When she finished, Mr. Ortega nodded and wrote timestamps next to each part. Amara, he said, tell me in your own words what you did and what you said. Simple facts are best. Amara did what she had practiced on calmer days. She spoke like she was placing stones across a stream, one step, then the next. Hallway near the gym, 3:04 p.m. I was walking with Maya. A student touched my strap. I said, let go. I am leaving. I kept my hands open. I called, "Teacher, Coach Lena." Coach arrived. The hall monitor asked the group to back up. I stepped to the coach. "No one is hurt." Nurse checked me. She wrote a note. "Good," Mr. Ortega said. "Thank you." He slid a form across the desk. "This is an incident statement for the record. You can write what you just said. Take your time. Maya, you may write a short witness note too if you're willing." Maya nodded and picked up a pen. The room settled into the soft scratch of writing. Amara's handwriting was neat, each letter a small act of clarity. When she finished, she added the time and signed her name. Maya handed her note in as well, short, true, steady. "Here's what happens next," Mr. Ortega said, folding their statements into a folder. "We will review camera footage from the hallway and the north stairs corridor for the last 15 minutes. We will ask the 3 students to write their statements separately. We will contact their families and yours. There will be consequences per our policy, and there may be a restorative meeting later if all parties agree and it feels safe. For today, you will exit with a staff member. If you'd like, Coach can walk you to the bus." "I would like that," Amara said. "May I text my mother now?" she added. "Please do," he said. "If she has questions, she can call me." Amara sent a short message, Part 4, safe. Hand on strap. Called for coach. Freed bag without force. Adults arrived. Nurse check okay. Writing statements. Coach will walk me out. The reply came almost at once, a heart, a thank you, and "I'm proud of your choices." She let that land where anxiety had been and felt the change. Mr. Ortega stood. "Thank you, both," he said to Amara and Maya. "Coach, can you?" "I've got them," Coach said. They stepped back into the corridor. The day had thinned into late light. The same hallway that had felt tight 20 minutes ago now felt like a normal place again. Lockers, posters, stray pencil on the floor. The world had not broken. It had bent and then gone back to shape. As they walked toward the main doors, Coach Lena spoke in a voice that was for learning, not for scolding. "I saw your hands," she said to Amara. "Open, low, visible. I saw you call for help before the moment grew. I saw you make room with your feet instead of your arms. That's control. That's what we teach." "I didn't want to hurt anyone," Amara said. "Exactly," Coach replied. "Leaving is a skill. So is asking for help. It takes practice to choose it when your heart is fast." Maya exhaled and gave a tiny laugh of relief. "My heart's still doing laps," she said. "But I'm okay." They paused by the doors. The sky outside had that clean shine after rain. Students crossed the courtyard, smaller now in pairs and trios, no crowd pressing in any one direction. The school felt like a school again. "Before you go," Coach said, "I want to say something you both already know, but it helps to hear. What happened is not your fault. If anyone tries to make a story out of silence or calm, that's on them. Your job is to be safe and to tell the truth. You did both." Amara nodded. "Thank you," she said. She meant it in 100 small ways, for the clipboard tap, for the steady voice, for the plain words that turned a hard minute into a manageable one. They walked out together. The bus hissed its friendly hello at the curb. Amara and Maya climbed aboard and found their usual seats up front. Coach Lena waited on the sidewalk until the door shut and the wheels began to turn. She lifted a hand, Amara lifted one back. It felt like a promise, not just a wave. The city slid by, bright where the sun touched brick, dark where trees held their shade. Amara took out her notebook. The page weighted like a soft landing. She wrote, "After school, 3:04. Hand on strap. Dropped shoulder softly. Freed bag. Open hands. Called for an adult. Coach and hall monitor arrived. No one hurt. Nurse check okay. Statement filed. Walking out with help. Calm returned. She paused, then added a line that wasn't about facts so much as meaning, strong is not loud, strong is clear. Maya leaned over. What did you write? She asked. Notes, Amara said, with a small smile. So the story stays true. Maya nodded. I'm going to write too, she said. I want to remember how fast things can change when someone steady shows up like Coach or when a friend stands close. They rode in easy quiet for a while, the kind that happens after a storm when leaves are still dripping but the wind has gone. At Amara's stop, she stood and shouldered her bag. It felt like hers in a new way, no longer a strap someone could pull, but a thing she could carry. She stepped down to the sidewalk and saw her mother waiting by the corner. Their eyes met, and a piece of the day that had been stiff folded itself neatly and put itself away. At home, over warm food and the soft sounds of evening, Amara told the story again, this time to someone who knew her voice well enough to hear what she didn't say. Her mother listened without interrupting, then hugged her with a gentleness that always surprised Amara with its strength. I'm proud of how you chose, her mother said. I'm proud of how you asked for help. I'm proud that you came home safe. Later, in her room, Amara taped the nurse's quick note and the incident slip into the back of her notebook. Not as trophies, but as receipts, proof that calm steps leave clear footprints. She looked at the sticky note in her locker. Combinations: mind, breathe in 4. Hold 2. Breathe out 6, and did the pattern once more before lights out. Her body remembered the shape of balance. Her mind remembered the sound of Coach's voice, of Mr. Ortega's steady directions, of Maya's quiet loyalty, of her own words said in a calm that had felt like a bridge over noisy water, I am leaving. The day was done. The turning point did not sparkle. It did not roar. It clicked into place the way a lock turns when you know the numbers, steady, simple, sure. Tomorrow would bring meetings and maybe rumors and certainly schoolwork. But tonight, the important part had already happened. She had stayed herself when it mattered. She had used skill instead of anger. She had chosen to leave, and she had left. The next morning felt lighter, not because the sky was clear, but because Amara knew what had been done and what would happen next. She woke early, packed her bag, and checked the small pocket where she kept her notebook and the policy copy. She added a new sticky note she had written the night before, tell the truth. Ask for help. Leave early. She looked at it for a second and smiled. Then she caught the bus. At school, the day moved with a new rhythm. Some students looked at her with simple curiosity, others looked away, not sure what to do with yesterday's story now that adults had stepped in. Maya met her at the front steps with a soft, good morning. They walked in together. The hall felt normal again, lockers, papers, the smell of pencils and floor cleaner. It was not perfect, schools rarely are. But it was not a stage anymore. Before first period, Mr. Ortega called Amara and Maya to his office for an update. Coach Lena was there, and Miss Patel, the counselor. The room felt calm and ready. We reviewed the camera footage, Mr. Ortega said. We also have all statements. Thank you for yours. They match the video very closely. He explained, in simple words, what would happen next. There would be consequences for the 3 students who crowded Amara, loss of certain privileges, a period of supervised service in the library, and required sessions in a small group workshop on respect and safety. Their families had been called. No one was being labeled forever, everyone was being held to the rules. There is also a chance for a restorative conversation if you want it, Miss Patel added. Only if you feel safe and only with clear ground rules. You do not have to accept. Your boundaries come first. Amara thought for a moment. I will do it if Coach and you are there, she said. I want the rules written on the table. And I want Maya to be allowed if she wants to come. Maya nodded. I'll come, she said softly. Good, Mr. Ortega replied. We'll set it up for later this week. No names will be shared with the wider school. We protect privacy while we fix behavior. English class felt almost peaceful. Miss Hart gave a short assignment, write 5 lines about a time you chose a calm action. She did not look at Amara when she said it. She looked at everyone. The room got quiet and the pencils began to move. Amara wrote about the hallway without writing names. She wrote about a bag strap and a voice that called for help. She wrote, strong is not loud, strong is clear. When Miss Hart collected the papers, she gave Amara a small nod, not a big display, just a note that said, I see you. By lunch, news had shifted in the most ordinary way, people had more to do than gossip. A math test was coming. The club fair was that afternoon. The basketball team had a game. Life kept going. Still, small changes were visible if you knew where to look. A new poster appeared on the main board, how to leave safely, quick steps and help points. It had a QR code that linked to a one-page guide. The credits at the bottom said, Student Safety Team with Coach Lena, Mr. Ortega, and volunteers. Maya grinned when she saw it. They'll ask you to help with the next version, she whispered. You know they will. They did. After school, Coach asked Amara and Maya to join a small meeting in the gym office. They opened a laptop, looked at the draft, and edited the words so they were simple and strong. Make space with your feet. Call for help. Keep hands open and visible. Leave toward an adult or camera. Report quickly, QR code or office. Short is good, Coach said. Short helps in a fast moment. She asked if they would pose for a photo, not faces, just hands open and a backpack held the safe way, for the guide. They did, and the picture looked steady and kind. Later in the week, the restorative meeting happened in a small room with chairs in a circle. A paper on the table showed the ground rules in big letters: speak truth. No interrupting. No blame language. Ask for repair, not revenge. Leave if you feel unsafe. Miss Patel led. Coach Lena sat to one side, quiet but solid. Mr. Ortega was near the door, a calm anchor. Kayla came in first, then Drew, then Levi. No one had a phone. No one had an audience. That was the point. The room was made for honesty, not for show. Miss Patel began with breath. In for 4, she said. Hold for 2. Out for 6. They did it once together. The sound of the room changed just enough for people to find their normal voices. Amara, Miss Patel said, you decide who speaks first. Kayla, Amara said. Kayla looked smaller without her group. Her hands were neat in her lap. I am sorry, she said, words plain and soft. I wanted to look strong in front of people. I thought you would play along or walk away fast and it would be a joke. I didn't think about how it would feel to you. I didn't think about safety. I made a bad choice and then tried to dress it like a fun moment. That's not fair. She paused. I'm ready to do service and the workshop. I'll also help hang those posters if you want. Drew spoke next. He rubbed his thumb across the seam of his jeans. I touched your bag, he said, eyes on the floor. That was wrong. I didn't think of it as a grab. I thought of it as a little pull to see if you would stop. That's not smart, and it's not kind. I'm sorry. He took a breath. I'll write an apology to the hall monitor too. He had to step in because of me. Levi cleared his throat. I crossed my feet and lost balance, he said. I could have fallen into the case. I could have broken it and gotten hurt or hit you. It was dumb. I'm sorry. His words were short, but they were solid. Sometimes solid is enough. Amaro listened. She did not rush. "Thank you for saying that," she replied. "I accept the apologies. I do not want to be friends, but I want us to share hallways with respect." She looked at Kayla. "Please tell people not to crowd others for a show. Please keep phones down when someone is trying to leave." She looked at Drew and Levi. "Please do not touch my things. If I say I am leaving, make space." "We will," they said, almost at the same time. It was not dramatic. It was a simple agreement. Miss Patel wrote it down and added it to their plan: service hours, workshop attendance, and a short follow-up meeting in 1 month. The next days held small proofs that the meeting had mattered. The group walked more loosely now, not in a tight line that pushed air out of the hallway. They stepped aside at doors. They said "excuse me" when people crossed paths. It wasn't perfect, but it was better, and better is the start of good. The club fair came on Friday. Tables filled the gym with posters and sign-up sheets. Amara and Maya walked the rows together, tasting small bits of each table's energy. Debate was loud and quick. Art club had little stickers, robotics had a tiny rolling car that bumped the table leg. At the self-defense table, Coach Lena set out simple cards: awareness, exit, voice, report. No photos of kicks or dramatic poses, just the basics and a sign-up sheet. Amara wrote her name and email. A few students who had watched the hallway events from a distance also signed. Some looked shy, some looked relieved. It felt like a door opening to a better habit. In the first self-defense session, Coach started with chairs, not mats. "Most of self-defense is before anything physical," she said. "Today we practice walking paths, using our voice, and finding adults. We will talk about how to keep our hands open and where to stand so we can leave. We will not show off. We will not make movies. We will make exits." The room felt safe, and learning felt like breathing. Amara found herself helping without trying to be a leader. When a 7th grader came to observe, she sat with her and traced the simplest map: nurse, office, library, gym. "Pick 2, Amara said. "When you feel unsure, aim your steps there." The girl asked small questions. Amara answered in short lines. "Keep your backpack zipped. Keep one hand free. Words first. Then walk. Then tell." The school also made quiet changes that mattered. The QR posters went up near every major exit. The reporting form added a place to upload a screenshot, so receipts could be saved without fuss. The student council wrote a short statement for the morning announcements: "We care about each other. Phones stay in pockets when people are trying to leave. Thanks." It was not a finger point. It was a hand on the wheel. One afternoon, Miss Hart returned the 5-line assignment from earlier in the week. There was a note at the bottom of Amara's page, clear and steady writing: "Thank you for your example." It made Amara feel quietly strong, the way a well-built bridge feels strong even when no one is crossing it. Mr. Ortega stopped Amara in the hallway a few days later. "We're putting together a student safety panel for the next family night," he said. "Short presentations, no names, just the steps and the tools. Would you like to speak for 2 minutes? Coach would stand with you." Amara felt a small flutter in her stomach and then a calm wave over it. "Yes," she said. "I would like to share the steps." On family night, she stood by Coach and pointed to the slide that showed 5 lines. She read them in a steady voice. Parents and students nodded. Some took photos of the screen, but not for a show, for memory. Afterward, a parent came up and said, "Thank you for making it simple." Simple is not easy, simple is clear. Weeks passed. Tests were taken. A pep rally happened. The library posted a new display of student poetry. In the self-defense club, they practiced saying no the kind way and the firm way, and they practiced leaving quietly through a door. Maya wrote a small article for the school paper called The Power of Calm, and the last line said, "We are not looking for heroes, we are learning habits." The school year's first quarter ended with a short assembly. Mr. Ortega spoke about kindness, not as a big idea but as a list of actions: give space, use names, keep phones down, report early, help carry a heavy box, say good morning, and mean it. He did not name Amara or the others. He did not need to. People knew what had changed and why. On the bus ride home that day, Amara opened her notebook to the first page and read the line she had carried from the start: "Write, don't react." She added 3 more lines beneath it: "1 per day of learning, tell the truth. Ask for help. Leave early." She looked out the window as the city passed in neat, friendly shapes. Her bag sat against her hip, not as a weight but as a simple thing she carried. Her breath moved in the old pattern she trusted. In for 4. Hold for 2. Out for 6. When she stepped off the bus, she saw the golden light on the sidewalk and the small tree near the corner that always kept one leaf longer than the others. Her mother waved from the stoop. Amara waved back. The day felt like a circle that closed where it began, a safe place to return to and a quiet strength inside. On Monday, a new student would arrive at school and look a little lost in the hallway. Amara planned to say hello before the crowd formed, to point out the library and the gym, to share the map with 2 safe places marked in bright ink. She did not feel famous. She did not want to stand on a stage. She wanted the halls to flow like water around stones, each person moving with care. If someone tested her again, she knew what to do: words first, help next, exit always, report and rest. That is not a flashy story. But it is a better one, the kind that keeps people safe and lets learning bloom. That night, she taped a small photo to the back of her notebook, the QR poster in the sunlit corridor, its code clear, its message simple. Under it, she wrote the words Coach had said that would stay with her for a long time: "We leave drama to theater class. Here, we leave danger." She closed the notebook and turned off her light. The room went quiet, not empty, quiet like a steady breath. The story she had lived did not end with a shout. It ended with clarity, with choices that could be repeated, with a school that felt more like a school. And that, she knew, was its own kind of strength.